The piercing shriek of the emergency alarm cut through the afternoon chatter of Westfield Shopping Center, like a blade through silk. Hundreds of shoppers froze mid-stride, bags clutched to their chests, eyes darting toward the exits, as the automated voice crackled through the speakers. This is not a drill. Please evacuate the building immediately in an orderly fashion. In the chaos that followed, 12-year-old Timmy Rodriguez found himself at the center of a nightmare he couldn't comprehend. His electric wheelchair hummed softly as security guards surrounded him, their faces grim beneath the harsh fluorescent lights. The birthday gift his parents had saved months to buy him a specialized gaming controller attachment for his chair dangled from its mount like an accusation. "Please, officers, there's been a mistake," Maria Rodriguez pleaded, her voice breaking as she reached for her son. "It's just his birthday present. We have the receipt right here." But the damage was already done. Somewhere in the crowd, Karen Whitmore stood with her arms crossed, her perfectly manicured nails tapping against her designer handbag as she watched the scene unfold. The satisfaction in her eyes was unmistakable, even as panic swirled around her like a hurricane. 2 hours earlier, the Rodriguez family had entered the mall with the kind of excitement that only comes with special occasions. It was Timmy's 12th birthday, and after months of physical therapy following his spinal cord injury from a car accident, he was finally comfortable enough to venture out for longer periods. The new wheelchair, sleek and modern with its array of adaptive controls, represented more than mobility. It was freedom. "Can we go to GameStop first?" Timmy asked, his brown eyes bright with anticipation as he maneuvered his chair through the crowd with practiced ease. "I want to see if they have that new racing game." Carlos Rodriguez smiled, ruffling his son's dark hair. "It's your day, mijo. Whatever you want." The mall was bustling with the usual Saturday afternoon crowd, families with strollers, teenagers clustered around the food court, elderly couples window shopping. The Rodriguez family blended into the tapestry of suburban life. Just another family enjoying their weekend. Maria pushed a shopping cart filled with decorative bags and a small cooler containing Timmy's homemade birthday cake, chocolate with strawberry filling, his favorite. They had visited 3 stores already, accumulating a small pile of gifts that Timmy insisted on carrying in his wheelchair's storage compartment. The new gaming controller attachment, a marvel of adaptive technology, was mounted on the arm of his chair, its cables and LED indicators making it look like something from a science fiction movie. "That's a pretty cool setup you've got there," commented a teenage employee at the electronics store. "I've never seen anything like it." Timmy beamed with pride. "My dad helped me install it. It lets me play games just like everyone else. But with different controls, I can manage." The family was making their way toward the food court when they first encountered Karen Whitmore. She stood near the fountain, her blonde hair pulled back in a severe bun, wearing a cream-colored blazer that probably cost more than most people's rent. Her cold blue eyes tracked Timmy's movement across the concourse, lingering on his wheelchair with undisguised disdain. "Excuse me," she called out, stepping directly into their path. "Is that thing supposed to be in here?" Carlos stopped, confusion flickering across his face. "I'm sorry. What?" Karen gestured dismissively at Timmy's wheelchair. "That contraption. It doesn't look safe. All those wires and gadgets. Someone could get hurt." The words hit like a physical blow. Maria stepped forward, her protective instincts flaring. "Ma'am, that's my son's wheelchair. He needs it to get around." "I can see what it is," Karen replied, her voice dripping with condescension. "But does it really need to look like a robot? It's frightening to the other children." Timmy's face flushed with embarrassment. The joy of his birthday celebration dimmed as he became acutely aware of the stares from other shoppers. "It's just my controls. Lady, I'm not hurting anyone." Karen's expression hardened. "Don't you talk back to me, young man. I'm simply concerned about public safety." Carlos placed a protective hand on his son's shoulder. "We're just trying to enjoy our day. Please leave us alone." But Karen Whitmore was not the type of person to be dismissed. As the family continued toward the food court, she followed at a distance, her phone already in her hand, fingers flying across the screen as she crafted her next move. The call came in at 2:47 p.m. Dispatcher Jennifer Walsh had been fielding routine calls all afternoon. A fender bender on Highway 9, a noise complaint from the apartment complex on Elm Street, a lost dog in Memorial Park. But the voice on the other end of the line was different, frantic, terrified. 911, what's your emergency? Oh God. Oh God. I think there's a bomb at Westfield Mall. Karen's voice cracked with manufactured panic. There's this suspicious device. All these wires and blinking lights. The kid who has it looks foreign, Middle Eastern, maybe. I'm scared for everyone here. Jennifer's training kicked in immediately. Ma'am, I need you to stay calm. Can you describe your location? I'm near the food court, by the fountain. The device is some kind of electronic contraption attached to a wheelchair. But it doesn't look like any wheelchair I've ever seen. It's got all these cables and screens and buttons. The whole family is acting suspicious. The dispatcher's fingers flew over her keyboard, entering the details into the system. I'm dispatching units to your location immediately. Please move to a safe distance and... Wait. Wait. Karen's voice rose an octave. I think I saw them do something to it. They were fiddling with the controls, and now it's making noises. Electronic beeping sounds. Oh my God, I think it's armed. The emergency response was swift and overwhelming. Within minutes, police units, fire department, and the bomb squad were racing toward the mall. The call had been classified as a code red potential explosive device in a public space. Every protocol demanded immediate evacuation and containment. Detective Sarah Chen was the first officer on scene, a 15-year veteran with a reputation for level-headed judgment. She had seen her share of false alarms and genuine threats. But the description from dispatch troubled her. A wheelchair-bound child with a suspicious device didn't fit the profile of any threat she'd encountered. Control. This is Unit 47. I'm approaching the food court area. Can you give me a better description of the suspect? Unit 47 complainant describes a juvenile male, approximately 12 years old, Hispanic, in a motorized wheelchair with an electronic device attached. Multiple wires and LED indicators visible. Complainant reports suspicious behavior from the entire family. Detective Chen paused at the entrance to the food court, her trained eyes scanning the crowd. She spotted the Rodriguez family almost immediately, not because they looked suspicious, but because they looked so utterly normal. A mother, father, and son sharing pizza and laughing together. The boy's wheelchair was indeed equipped with what appeared to be gaming controls, but even from a distance, she could see it was clearly assistive technology. Still, protocol was protocol. The bomb squad was already en route, and the evacuation had to proceed. The announcement came without warning. Attention shoppers, due to an emergency situation, we are implementing immediate evacuation procedures. Please proceed to the nearest exit in an orderly fashion. But order was the last thing on anyone's mind. The word bomb had somehow leaked through the crowd, passed from person to person like a deadly virus. Panic spread faster than wildfire. Mothers grabbed their children. Elderly shoppers were knocked aside, and the careful choreography of suburban life dissolved into chaos. Timmy Rodriguez found himself trapped in the middle of it all, his wheelchair hemmed in by a sea of terrified legs. "Mom, Dad," he called out. But his voice was lost in the cacophony of screaming voices and pounding feet. A woman stumbled into his chair, sending her shopping bags flying. "Get that thing away from me!" she shrieked, not even looking to see what she was afraid of. Carlos fought through the crowd, his face desperate. "Timmy, stay right there. Don't move." But staying still was impossible. The crowd surged around the wheelchair like water around a stone, and Timmy felt himself being pushed toward the fountain area, where Karen Whitmore waited with her phone camera ready, documenting every moment of the chaos she had created. The bomb squad arrived in full tactical gear, their heavy boots echoing against the mall's polished floors. The evacuation was nearly complete, but the Rodriguez family remained in the food court, surrounded by police officers who were treating them not as victims, but as suspects. "I need everyone to step back slowly," commanded Sergeant Mike Torres, the bomb squad leader. "Son, I need you to keep your hands visible and don't touch any of the equipment on your chair." Timmy's eyes were wide with terror. "I don't understand. What did I do wrong? It's just my game controller." Maria Rodriguez felt her world crumbling around her. "Please, officers, you're scaring him. He's just a child. He has cerebral palsy from a car accident. The device is adaptive gaming equipment. We have all the documentation." Detective Chen approached slowly, her weapon holstered but her radio crackling with updates. "Ma'am, I understand this is frightening, but we need to verify that the device is safe. Can you tell me exactly what it does?" Carlos stepped forward, his voice shaking. "It's a gaming controller designed for children with mobility issues. My son can't use regular controllers because of his injury. This was his birthday present. We bought it from a medical supply company in Phoenix." The bomb squad began their preliminary examination, while the family was moved to a secure area. Sergeant Torres had seen enough improvised explosive devices to know the difference between a bomb and a game controller, but procedure demanded a thorough investigation. "Control, this is Torres. Initial assessment suggests the device is not explosive. Appears to be some kind of adaptive gaming equipment. I'm going to need the technical specifications from the manufacturer." As the bomb squad worked, Karen Whitmore watched from behind the security barrier, her phone still recording. But something had changed in her expression. The righteous anger was fading, replaced by something that looked suspiciously like doubt. A mall security guard approached her. "Ma'am, you were the one who called this in, correct?" Karen straightened her blazer, trying to recapture her earlier confidence. "Yes, I was. And I stand by my report. That device looked suspicious." "I see. And you're certain you saw the family behaving in a threatening manner?" For the first time, Karen hesitated. "Well, they were doing something to the device. Adjusting it. It was making noises." The security guard made a note in his tablet. "Mr. Patterson, could you pull up the security footage from the food court area for the past hour?" The revelation came like a bolt of lightning splitting the sky. In the mall's security office, Detective Chen watched the footage with growing disbelief. The timestamp showed the Rodriguez family's entire visit, from their cheerful entrance to the moment of evacuation. There was no suspicious behavior, no threatening gestures, no attempt to conceal anything. What the footage did show was Karen Whitmore's deliberate stalking of the family, her obvious agitation at Timmy's presence, and most damning of all, the satisfied smile on her face as she made the 911 call. Run it back to when she first approaches them. Detective Chen instructed the security supervisor. The audio was crystal clear. Karen's initial confrontation, her disdainful comments about Timmy's wheelchair, her deliberate escalation of the situation. And then, most chilling of all, the moment she stepped away to make her call. The calculated way she positioned herself to maintain visual contact with the family while fabricating her emergency report. "Jesus Christ," muttered Officer Rodriguez, who had been called in to assist with the investigation. She set them up. She deliberately caused a panic. Detective Chen's jaw tightened. "Get me the 911 recording. I want to hear exactly what she told dispatch." The audio from the emergency call was even more damning. Karen's voice, initially panicked, became increasingly theatrical as she embellished her story. The references to the family's ethnicity, the unfounded claims about suspicious behavior, the complete fabrication about hearing electronic beeping, sounds, it was all there, captured in digital clarity. "She's looking at a felony charge," Detective Chen said grimly. "False reporting of a bomb threat, inducing panic, possibly hate crime enhancements. This isn't just a misunderstanding." Meanwhile, in the food court, the bomb squad had completed their assessment. Sergeant Torres removed his helmet, his face grim with embarrassment and anger. The device is a therapeutic gaming controller manufactured by Adaptive Tech Solutions. It's completely harmless. In fact, it's a remarkable piece of assistive technology. He knelt down to Timmy's level, his voice gentle. "I'm sorry this happened to you. Son, you did nothing wrong. Nothing at all." Timmy's eyes filled with tears. "Does this mean I can't use my controller anymore? Am I in trouble?" "No, buddy. You're not in trouble. But the person who called this in, she's in very big trouble." The family was escorted back to the main concourse, where a crowd of evacuated shoppers had gathered. The news of the false alarm had spread quickly, and the mood was shifting from fear to anger. These people had been terrorized, their afternoon destroyed, their sense of safety shattered, all because of one woman's prejudice and malice. Karen Whitmore stood near the customer service desk, her phone clutched in her hands as she watched the bomb squad emerge from the food court. The realization that she had made a terrible mistake was beginning to dawn on her. But it was too late to undo the damage. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to come with me," Detective Chen said, her voice carrying the weight of authority. "You're under arrest for filing a false police report and inciting public panic." Karen's face went pale. "Under arrest, but I was just being a good citizen. I reported what I saw." "What you saw was a disabled child with his family, and you decided to turn it into a terrorist threat. You endangered hundreds of people with your false report." The handcuffs clicked shut around Karen's wrists as Detective Chen read her rights. The crowd of evacuated shoppers watched in stunned silence as the woman who had caused their panic was led away in custody. The aftermath of the incident rippled through the community like stones thrown into still water. By evening, the story had reached the local news stations, and by the next morning, it had gone viral on social media. The security footage, released by the mall with the Rodriguez family's permission, showed the stark contrast between their peaceful birthday celebration and Karen's deliberate harassment. News anchor Patricia Williams delivered the story with barely contained outrage. A family's birthday celebration turned into a nightmare yesterday when a local woman falsely reported a disabled child's wheelchair as a bomb threat. The incident, which caused mass panic and evacuation of Westfield Mall, has resulted in felony charges against 43-year-old Karen Whitmore of Maple Grove. The segment included interviews with witnesses, security footage, and, most powerfully, a brief statement from Timmy Rodriguez himself, delivered from his hospital bed where he was being treated for anxiety and panic attacks triggered by the incident. "I just wanted to play games like other kids," he said, his voice small but clear. "I don't understand why she hated me so much." The public response was immediate and overwhelming. The hashtag #JusticeForTimmy trended on Twitter for 3 days. The gaming controller company, Adaptive Tech Solutions, released a statement supporting the family and announcing a scholarship fund for children with disabilities. The mall's management faced intense scrutiny for their handling of the situation. But perhaps the most significant response came from the disability rights community. Dr. Amanda Foster, director of the National Disability Rights Network, used the incident as a rallying cry for broader awareness and protection. "This attack on a child with disabilities represents everything that's wrong with our society's treatment of people who are different," she stated at a press conference. Timmy Rodriguez was targeted not because he posed any threat, but because his disability made him visible, made him other in the eyes of someone consumed by prejudice. The legal proceedings moved swiftly. Karen Whitmore's initial attempts to claim she had acted in good faith crumbled under the weight of evidence. The security footage, the 911 recording, and witness testimonies painted a clear picture of deliberate harassment and false reporting. Her defense attorney, Marcus Webb, tried to argue that his client had genuinely believed there was a threat, but the prosecution's case was overwhelming. District Attorney Rebecca Chen presented evidence of Karen's history of complaints against minorities and disabled individuals in her neighborhood, establishing a pattern of bias and harassment. The defendant didn't see a bomb threat, Prosecutor Chen argued during the hearing. She saw a disabled child having fun with his family, and she couldn't stand it, so she weaponized the emergency response system to terrorize them. The judge, the Honorable William Martinez, was equally unimpressed with the defense's arguments. "Mrs. Whitmore, your actions endangered hundreds of innocent people, traumatized a child, and wasted thousands of dollars in emergency response resources. Most importantly, you attacked the fundamental dignity and rights of a disabled child." The sentence was swift and severe: 3 years in prison, 5 years probation, community service with disability advocacy organizations, and a lifetime ban from all properties owned by the mall's parent company. Additionally, she was required to pay restitution to the Rodriguez family for medical expenses, therapy costs, and emotional trauma. But the real justice came in the form of community response. The day after Karen's sentencing, Westfield Mall announced they would be hosting a disability awareness and inclusion fair, featuring exhibits from local disability organizations, adaptive technology demonstrations, and sensitivity training for all staff. The event was held on a sunny Saturday morning, exactly 1 month after the incident. The Rodriguez family was invited as guests of honor, and Timmy arrived wearing a new T-shirt that read, "Different, not dangerous," in bright blue letters. The turnout was overwhelming. Hundreds of families attended, many with disabled children who had been inspired by Timmy's story. The gaming controller company set up a demonstration booth where children could try various adaptive technologies. Local schools brought students to learn about disability awareness and inclusion. Perhaps the most moving moment came when Timmy was invited to address the crowd. His parents had been hesitant, worried about the emotional impact, but Timmy had insisted he wanted to speak. "Hi, everyone," he began, his voice carried by the microphone attached to his wheelchair. "A month ago, I was really scared. Someone tried to hurt me just because I'm different. But look at all of you here today. You're not scared of me. You want to be my friends." The crowd erupted in applause, and several children rushed forward to get a closer look at his wheelchair and gaming setup. For the first time since the incident, Timmy's smile was genuine and bright. Dr. Foster, who had flown in from Washington to attend the event, watched the proceedings with tears in her eyes. "This is how we heal," she told the assembled reporters. "Not by hiding from prejudice, but by confronting it with community, education, and love." The mall's general manager, Robert Kim, announced that the Disability Awareness Fair would become an annual event. "We failed Timmy and his family that day," he admitted, "but we're committed to making sure it never happens again." As the day progressed, something beautiful emerged from the ashes of that terrible incident. Children who had never interacted with disabled peers were playing together, asking questions, and learning that differences weren't threatening, they were just different. Parents who had harbored unconscious biases found themselves confronting their own prejudices and choosing to do better. The event raised over $50,000 for disability advocacy organizations and led to the implementation of mandatory sensitivity training for all mall employees. Several local schools requested similar programs for their students. But perhaps the most significant change was in the mall's culture itself. The incident had exposed an ugly truth about how society treats people with disabilities, but it had also revealed the power of community response to injustice. The mall became a model for inclusion, with improved accessibility features, adaptive technology demonstrations, and staff trained to assist customers with various disabilities. 6 months after the incident, Timmy Rodriguez returned to the mall for the first time since that traumatic day. The family had been invited to see the new accessibility improvements and to meet with the management team about ongoing initiatives. As they walked through the food court, Timmy noticed the changes immediately: wider pathways, accessible seating areas, and clear signage in multiple languages and formats. But more importantly, he noticed the way people looked at him with curiosity rather than fear, with smiles rather than stares. "It's different now," he told his mother, as they sat at the same table where they had shared pizza on his birthday. "People aren't afraid of me anymore." Maria Rodriguez nodded, her eyes still reflecting the trauma of that day, but also showing hope for the future. "You changed things, mijo. You and your courage changed everything." The gaming controller attachment on Timmy's wheelchair had been upgraded since the incident, with new features and improved accessibility. The manufacturer had used his feedback to develop an even better product, and Timmy had become something of a celebrity in the adaptive technology community. As they prepared to leave, Detective Chen approached their table. She had made a point of staying in touch with the family, partly out of professional obligation, but mostly out of genuine concern for Timmy's well-being. "How are you doing, buddy?" she asked, kneeling down to his level as she always did. "I'm good," Timmy replied, and for the first time in months, he really meant it. "I'm not scared anymore." Detective Chen smiled. "You shouldn't be. You're one of the bravest kids I've ever met." As the family made their way toward the exit, they passed a group of teenagers who recognized Timmy from the news coverage. Instead of staring or whispering, they approached him directly. "Hey, aren't you the kid with the awesome gaming setup?" one of them asked. "Can you show us how it works?" Timmy's face lit up with pride as he demonstrated his adaptive controls. The teenagers were genuinely impressed, asking technical questions and marveling at the ingenuity of the design. "That's so cool," one girl said. "I wish I had controls like that for my games." It was a simple interaction, but it represented something profound. Timmy was no longer seen as a threat or an object of pity. He was just a kid with a cool piece of technology, sharing his passion with other kids who appreciated it. As they walked to their car, Carlos Rodriguez reflected on the journey they had taken. The incident had been traumatic, devastating, and life-changing. But it had also revealed the power of truth, the importance of standing up to prejudice, and the incredible resilience of the human spirit. Karen Whitmore, meanwhile, was serving her sentence at the state correctional facility, participating in court-mandated sensitivity training and community service programs. Her world had collapsed completely, her job, her social circle, her reputation, all destroyed by her own actions. But according to her counselors, she was beginning to understand the magnitude of what she had done. The incident had changed her too, though in a very different way than it had changed Timmy. She was learning, slowly and painfully, about the consequences of prejudice and the importance of empathy. Whether she would emerge from prison a changed person remained to be seen. But the opportunity for redemption existed, even for someone who had caused so much pain. The story of Timmy Rodriguez and his wheelchair became a touchstone for the disability rights movement, a reminder that prejudice often wears the mask of concern and that the most vulnerable members of society need our protection, not our suspicion. In schools across the country, teachers used the incident as a starting point for discussions about diversity, inclusion, and the importance of challenging our own biases. The security footage became a powerful educational tool, showing how quickly fear and prejudice can escalate into real harm. The annual Disability Awareness Fair at Westfield Mall became a regional event, attracting thousands of visitors and raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for disability advocacy organizations. Timmy attended every year, watching as his traumatic experience was transformed into a force for positive change. On the 5th anniversary of the incident, Timmy, now 17 and preparing for college, was invited to speak at a national disability rights conference. His message was simple but powerful. I used to think being different was something to hide. Now, I know it's something to celebrate. The wheelchair that had once been seen as a threat now represented triumph. The gaming controller that had been mistaken for a bomb had become a symbol of innovation and inclusion. And the boy who had been terrorized by one woman's prejudice had become a voice for change, proving that even the darkest moments can be transformed into light. As Timmy finished his speech to thunderous applause, he looked out at the audience, hundreds of people with disabilities, their families, advocates, and allies, and realized that Karen Whitmore had unknowingly created something beautiful. Her act of hatred had sparked a movement of love. Her moment of cruelty had inspired years of compassion, and her failure of humanity had reminded everyone else what it truly means to be human. The story was far from over. Every time someone chose understanding over fear, every time a child with a disability was welcomed rather than shunned, every time a community came together to support its most vulnerable members, Timmy's legacy grew stronger. The wheelchair bomb incident had ended, but the healing it had sparked would continue for generations to come. In the end, perhaps that was the most important lesson of all, that even in our darkest moments, we have the power to choose light, to choose love, and to choose to build a world where no child ever has to fear being different again.